Hi, Linda. I'm waiting.
Sorry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you
I
doing?
didn't have my mic on. I'm like, why is she not responding?
How are you?
Good. Better.
Yeah, I'm waiting to let everyone in for a second, just so we don't have
We
to
have a
sit in
lot.
awkward silence. Yeah, we had
Oh,
66 people
what?
enroll for this, so register. So quite a few.
Cool.
Let everyone in, and maybe I'll let them in now since it's 1 o'clock. I'm
Come.
gonna introduce your team briefly um, during it, since you guys will be taking over some of the review and management after we get all the applications in. Hi, Chelsea. I'll go ahead and admit everyone. Just waiting for a minute. Good afternoon, everyone. We're gonna get started in just a little bit. Gonna wait for a few more people to join. I believe your mics and cameras are all turned off for now, but there's a Q&A area, and the chat should be available as well. So during the presentation, you'll be able to enter information there, and then I believe I can turn on people's mics and cameras later on as well, with people have questions at the end. But we'll get going in just a minute.
And I can work on admitting people as you if you want to get started, that's fine. I can help with
Okay,
that.
thank you. I'll wait a few more minutes. Thank you, Chelsea. We'll get started at maybe 3 after, just to give a few more people to join. Good afternoon for all just joining. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Appreciate it. I'll introduce myself. My name is Amy Brown. I have been with Energy Outreach Colorado for about 4.5 years, and I've been managing this grant for the last 2 rounds. This will be the third year that we are offering it. So thank you all for joining today to learn about this funding and see if it might be a good opportunity for your organization to apply for. I also wanted to introduce Linda Scoffel and Chelsea Rosti, who are on the call as well. They're on the EOC team. They're going to actually be taking over the management of this grant after we receive proposals this round. And so they'll be also kind of helping to answer questions later on. So wanted to introduce them. Either of you want to say anything?
Just wanted to say good afternoon, everyone, and really great to see a wonderful turnout, and we look forward to working together on this upcoming opportunity.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share a presentation I have and go over some of the information about this grant. Second, hopefully everyone can see this. And as we go, thank you. As we go, I'm going to feel free to enter questions in either the Q&A area or the chat section. I don't know if I'll be able to see them when I'm presenting, but we can get to them afterwards, or Chelsea or Linda, feel free to interrupt if there's a question that comes through that makes sense to answer right away. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll allow everyone, if they would like, to turn on their camera and unmute if you have a question, but you can use the chat in the Q&A area if you have questions, again, during the presentation. So let me go on here. All right. So a little background on this funding. There is a bill called House Bill 1105 that was passed through the Colorado legislature in 2021. This bill added EASBC funds, so it's an Energy Assistance System benefit charge, to bills for customers of the investor-owned utilities. So that would be Xcel Energy, Black Hills, Atmos, and Colorado Natural Gas. It serves, I think, the majority of the state. There's some areas that are not covered by one of these utilities, but the majority of the state is covered by at least one of these utilities, sometimes two, etc. So the funding from that charge goes to the following programs. So all of the funding that is collected on those bills goes into a big pot that is distributed between the EEBT program. This is kind of a new program this year that allows SNAP and LEAP to coordinate to unlock additional federal SNAP benefits. It's a little confusing how it works, but a chunk of money goes to help SNAP benefits unlock more benefits from the federal government. So a good chunk of the money from that charge went to that this year. In addition, of the remaining money after we distribute it to EUBT, a good chunk goes to the Colorado Energy Office's Weatherization Assistance Program that does efficiency work around the state in homes for income qualified Coloradans. And then the remaining goes to Energy Outreach Colorado's Energy Assistance Program. So it's our bill payment assistance program that pays past due utility bills for those who qualify. And then 2% of the total collected goes to this education and outreach grant that we're discussing today. So this year, again, this is the third year that we will be offering this grant. EOC is basically administering it, but it's not our direct funding. It's funding from those charges. So this year we'll have about $615,000 total to distribute, which is up about $100,000 from last year. So it's a good amount that really goes to ensure that Coloradans around the state know about these programs, know that they might be eligible, and helps to educate them about how to apply, how to get access to this if they need it. So what we are looking for from proposals, this grant is open only to nonprofit organizations. We are asking that they be in good financial standing, just so we know that if we're giving you funding, you're not going to close your doors. We want to make sure that this funding is spent during the year and is utilized the best to get the word out about these assistance programs. If it's a national organization, they need to have Colorado staff and a Colorado presence. And then you must serve households that are in at least one of these utility territories. We especially have a need in Atmos and Colorado natural gas territory. So if you are serving folks in either of those territories, that may also help you out in terms of your proposal. Those that are best suited for this work, really we're looking for organizations that already have existing relationships with low and moderate income community members, because those are that's the community we're targeting with these assistance programs, of course. Those that have experience collaborating with community-based organizations and nonprofits, being able to expand your reach is great. That you have capacity to conduct community level outreach, referrals, helping to increase enrollment in these energy assistance programs, really having the time to be able to explain these programs. And then really, if you and your organization, staff at your organization have capacity and the ability to directly assist residents in filling out applications, navigating these programs, that really is helpful, because that really moves the needle on this and helps reduce barriers for folks who maybe can hear about the program, but then may not know how to apply and might have to go somewhere else if you don't have the capacity to help fill out assistance applications. So we're really looking for those that maybe have the capacity and the time to help people fill those applications out and navigate them through the process. It's not an absolute must, but it definitely will help you out. We're giving preference to, again, those especially that can reach low income communities, but those especially able to reach the hard to reach among that community, including in rural populations, communities outside of the Front Range. Eastern Colorado is an area we'd really like to get some coverage in as well. So if you are in an organization that represents Eastern Colorado or has a branch that represents Eastern Colorado, that's going to really help you out on this effort. Again, Atmos and Colorado natural gas territory have less uptake in these programs. And so if you if you're working with folks that are customers of either of those utilities, please specify that in your proposal, and that can help out. Organizations that have a background directly aiding with assistance applications. So if you have helped with government applications in the past, any of the federal benefits, but also if you have, if you're an energy assistance partner agency with EOC, if you're a weatherization assistance program partner with the Colorado Energy Office, if you just have some knowledge about energy assistance programs, that can help you out as well. Again, it's not a requirement that you have background on energy assistance necessarily, but it can help. We will be training folks up on all of these programs if you're selected and funded as well. So no need to have full knowledge of everything and how to help people assist, but if you do have background in that, that can help you out. And then those that can serve non-English speaking households, if you have folks, staff that speak multiple languages, or if you have some way, a translation service, some way of reaching folks that are non-English speaking to help them apply to these programs, that would also be a benefit. So the funding that we are offering can cover a number of things. It's pretty unrestricted, which is nice for organizations in that, it can cover a wide range of costs. So staff personnel time is probably the biggest thing that outreach, anyone who's done outreach knows that the biggest expense is just that staff and personnel time. So we expect a lot of it will probably cover that. things like planning, coordinating, implementing, directly helping people coming into your offices to help to apply for these programs. If if people are coming in, your program supplies, your operating costs, technology for outreach events, if you're going to host them, anything like that could be covered with this. Travel and mileage to and from outreach events. So if you are planning as part of your proposal an outreach event in a specific location where you might be able to reach a lot of folks who might be eligible for this assistance, you could use some of the funding to cover that. Social media is obviously a good way of getting the word out about these programs. Any other marketing costs to promote events and services could be covered. If you are having community members come and share information, help out with some of these efforts. It could be used for stipends for that kind of thing. And then translation and interpretation expenses. It could also cover that. And this is not an exhaustive list. I think, especially if your organization has some background doing outreach work and you have some great ideas on how you could utilize this money to better spread the word and help increase participation in these programs, then we're open to it. It's pretty flexible funding, which is nice and different than I know a lot of funding sources that might be out there. So we're really open to just hearing a lot of different ideas on how to best get the word out about this. So be creative, use your background. Requirements. If you, hopefully all of you have seen the website where the RFP lives. Maybe Linda or Chelsea can pop that link into the chat while I'm speaking also. But the full PDF is going to explain all of the requirements for this and go into more detail on everything I'm reviewing here as well. So if you're missing something, don't worry, there's more information in the full request for proposals. But the things that we're looking for you to submit as part of your proposal is a statement of work, which would include all of the activities that you're planning on partaking in order to get the word out about these programs and assist folks with applying. We will have trainings, as I mentioned. If you're selected, you'll need to participate and commit to at least one of your staff members and maybe more joining the participation or joining in on these trainings. So you know what assistance programs are available, which ones we really want you to push, the requirements for them, what you need. Participating in peer learning sessions down the line. This is, yeah, I should say these were requirements for if you are funded, what you will need to do. The PDF will have more information on what you need to submit with your proposal. Sorry about that. So you'll participate in peer learning sessions. We will also have we'll send out trackers that help you report the progress of your activity so far, which will include the number of people you refer to each program, how successful it's gone, what are some positives, what are some things that you're struggling with, things like that. We also will discuss that in some of these peer learning sessions you'll have along the way. You'll have those progress reports with how you are doing achieving project goals, and then a final project report at the end detailing the work that's been done over the year. So if you are interested in submitting a proposal based on all that is required if you are funded, we will need your organization background. So that includes some of your mission and vision, your key staff that will be doing the work. Again, this is all outlined in the PDF. And why you're best suited to do well at this effort. We'll need those detailed outreach plans about what you're planning to do, how you will accomplish this within the given time, your proposed budget and timeline. And then we will need to see just some financial documents from your organization just to ensure that you're in good financial standing. So the timeline on this, the RFP was released on November 18th. We're obviously having the info session today. This is recorded and we will be sharing this out too. So if you have more folks from your organization, oops, sorry about that. Or folks that you know maybe work in another organization might be interested in this, you can send this out to them as well. So we have the info session. Proposals are due on December 20th. We're giving about a month since the RFP was released to submit this proposal. We are aiming for award decisions to be made by the end of January. And then we will be having trainings. I say with EOC staff, it will be with EOC staff, CO staff, probably LEAP staff as well, to go over the energy assistance programs available. The award distribution will be in February, and then we'll have a peer learning session in June-ish. All of these are subject to change somewhat, but that's kind of what we're looking at for a timeline. Submitting it, it'd be great if you could combine all of the required documents that are listed in that RFP and put them all in one PDF and submit them to me via email. And my email address is there. And again, proposals are due by the end of day, which I'll say is midnight on December 20th. Some people are like, is that 5 o'clock? Midnight is fine by December 20th, just to give you plenty of time. Once those proposals are submitted, there will be a committee put together of representatives of the different organizations that offer the energy assistance programs. And then likely a representative from one of the investor-owned utilities. So again, that's Xcel, Atmos, Black Hills, and Colorado Natural Gas. And then in the past, we've always had a representative from one of our energy assistance agencies that did not apply for this effort as well. And yeah, so they'll review all of the applications and make decisions again, hopefully in January. So what we're looking for, again, in the proposals and how they're kind of scored, we're looking to make sure that your mission and staff are aligned with the project goals. So we want to make sure that it makes sense that you're doing this work. We want to make sure your financial documents are in order, your organization is financially sound. We want to make sure that you have well-established relationships with the vulnerable audiences that would be eligible for these programs, and especially those that maybe have not heard about them before. Again, and the next bullet says too, those outside of the Front Range, rural counties, any other BIPOC, hard to reach communities, especially that maybe don't already have high uptake of services. We're really looking to expand and just make sure everyone around the state knows that these programs exist. And if they're struggling, they can apply and get some assistance. We want to make sure your project plan is clear and specific. This I will emphasize because one of the things we saw from last year is we had some really great organizations submit. They had clearly aligned, they were aligned with the communities that they're targeting, but they were just a little too vague about the budget, about what their project plan was going to be and the timeline. And so we weren't able to fund some of those that were a little too vague. So I would say put effort into clearly laying out how you're going to be spending this money and what steps are you going to take to really reach these communities. Clear explanation of how you will measure success and adjust accordingly. I think anyone who's done outreach knows that it can be tough. It's not as easy as, something that's very quantitative to measure. So if you have ways that you have done outreach in the past and have measured like whether that was successful or not, um, please lay that out. That would be great and useful to us as well. We EOC engages in our outreach also. I think part of the reason we have those peer learning sessions during this too is really to learn from each other of what works well and what doesn't, how to adjust. A proposal, you can lay out best laid plans, but everyone knows too that sometimes you need to adjust it once you get the funding. So just how would you handle that if you were given funding and making sure, how do you make sure that you're succeeding and getting the word out about this stuff? All right. So again, a majority of this is laid out in that RFP, but I'm happy to take some questions now and hear from you all what things you would like to learn about this effort as well. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing just so I can see you. And I also will go in and sorry about that. I'm going to allow you, if you so wish, to turn on your microphone and unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question. Save this really quick. Okay. I think you all should be able to unmute if you want to, but feel free to use the chat and Q&A also.
Hi there. Thank you so much for providing all that information. That's really helpful to know this opportunity. I did have a couple of different questions. So in terms of some of the specific programs you were referring to, is it like subsets of programs under EOC and LEAP, or just kind of those two programs in general?
Yeah, so really the bill specifies utility assistance programs.
Mhm.
And we will specifically, because the majority of the funding goes to specifically bill assistance for EOC and weatherization assistance from the Colorado Energy Office. And then some of it goes to that program that connects LEAP and SNAP. Those are the ones that we will give you the most training on. Although EOC also has another weatherization assistance program, we have community solar, and we have a few other programs, but we will review all of those with you all. But those three are really the main ones that we will emphasize the most likely.
Okay, so any staff that we would have supporting that, they would get more training versed in those. Do you have a sense in terms of like the time commitment for those applications relative to just the general EOC and LEAP one?
So for energy assistance, are you familiar with the energy assistance one? When you say general EOC?
Yeah, um like the regular 2-page application for EOC.
Yeah, for bill assistance, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so the community solar program has very similar application to energy assistance, and actually folks that receive bill assistance, if they're in specific utility territories, will be waitlisted for the community solar program. So we make it pretty easy. Our weatherization program is also a 2-page application. It's pretty quick. The Weatherization Assistance Program, which is the Colorado Energy Office's one, does have an online application. I think it is, I haven't gone through it a ton, and usually I let the Colorado Energy Office review all of that. But it's probably comparable to LEAP. Because it is a state, like federally, they receive some funding from the federal government, so it has similar kind of requirements. Although since they do get funding from this 1105 bill, they don't have to be as strict around some things for those houses that are funded with that funding. So, but it's kind of comparable to LEAP, I would say.
Okay, that's really helpful. And then in terms of the outreach component, I was just curious if there's any flexibility with what qualifies as outreach. So the teams that I'm a part of, we're like the front door to our services. So people call in constantly every day seeking this type of assistance. So is it more than providing this education and getting them connected? Would we be the ones having to like initiate those conversations as opposed to people calling in?
I mean, I think if you're already getting a lot of call-ins, you can certainly put that in, but I think we are hoping for organizations that can go beyond and you know, get more populations who maybe don't know to call you all to reach others. So yeah, I would say you know, this could fund other efforts that you guys are doing or help bolster some of the stuff that maybe you're already doing of like, how are people finding you now? Could you put some more energy or put some more funding into those same things that are currently getting people to call you, if
Okay.
that makes sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Mhm. Thank you. Other questions?
Hi, I had a quick question about, so if we're already doing bill pay assistance processing through with EOC, is there, and I'm sorry if I missed you saying this, I jumped on a few minutes late, but I wanted to know, like, how can that be built into this application where we sort of go beyond as we're already,
Sorry, you cut off a little bit at the end.
or should we not be building in that work at all in this proposal?
Sorry, I think you cut out for a good chunk of that. I heard you saying you're a bill assistance agency. Can you go above? Can you restate the question? Sorry.
Sorry, I'm on my phone in between all the things. Can so if we are an agency that does the bill pay assistance and we're already working with these clients, should we be building in any of that work into this application as well? Like time spent working with folks that are ineligible, like would that be a thing we want to spell out as a part of working with this clientele? Do you want to see that, or do you want to, if we are a bill pay agency, should we be leaving that entirely out of our application?
I mean, I would say I would put that you are a bill payment assistance organization because of that, you already know quite a bit about the EOC program. You can help people directly, so you're not just referring folks to another agency. They can come there. I think we often ask a lot of our EOC agencies of saying, hey, if you have the time, you could tell them about these other programs they may be eligible for. And I know a lot of folks don't necessarily have the capacity with being a bill assistance agency and the admin funding you're getting from that to do all of that extra stuff. So I think you could put in your proposal that this funding would allow your navigators or your folks to sit with people and be able to explain some other programs they may be eligible for and help them apply if they're interested in those programs. And you could kind of just go more in depth on some education there with the folks that you're already assisting. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But like I said with Lizzie too, the more you can um you know, go above and beyond of like, how are you getting people in the door? How are they coming to you? How do they hear about bill assistance? Are there other ways you can beef that up too so you can get more folks to come? That's another option as well. Other questions? And feel free to unmute. Just double checking the chat, making sure there's nothing there I'm missing. All right, well, I'll wait another minute or so, but if other people, oh, it says there are several questions in the Q&A. Let me double check there. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, I was wondering, are you looking for somebody that can cover a large area? Or are you open to, like, if we are an agency that does bill assistance, but we serve like 4 communities, to have a narrow focus on our outreach?
I think it can be either one. I think sometimes a narrower focus can be more doable and you can reach more folks that way. It can be more, kind of personalized and tailored to those communities. So I think, especially depending on which communities they are, um, uh, it could really benefit you if they're in like rural areas. But yeah, I would say whatever makes sense to you. I would say too, if you're not used to doing really broad outreach and you're used to working within like, limited kind of communities near you, I would lean into that more.
Okay, thank you.
I'm seeing questions in the Q&A now. Sorry, I needed to to expand. So let me look through those.
Yeah,
for a
sorry,
moment.
I did too, Amy. I was looking at it
Yeah.
and I didn't see that,
Yeah,
so my
yeah,
bad.
Okay, so the RFP was shared. Any specific advice for returning grantees? Can we utilize a similar work plan as the last round if we had success with it? Yes, I think so. I think if you can explain that you had, good, you reached a number of people, you really met the goals that you set out. You can ask for the same amount of money or increase it if you think that you can take on more. But yeah, I think there's a paragraph in the RFP that's specifically for returning agencies, that asks you to explain what went well, and what you would continue. So the more you can explain that, I think is great. And again, feel free to ask for more money if you have more capacity. Did we go over the funding amount? I didn't include that in here, but I believe in the RFP it says 10,000 to 100,000 you can request. So it really ranges and can kind of depend on what the capacity of your organization. I don't know that we've funded anyone 100,000, but if you think you can spend that much, you can always ask for it. What we just to let you know, in the past, we have received a number of applications that did request quite a bit of funding, and sometimes the committee may review everything and look at the wide range of proposals and decide, okay, we really want to fund this group, but we're going to offer them half of what they requested. That may be something. So um, feel free to ask for what you think would make sense for the work that you're laying out in your proposal. But the committee may come back and say, hey, can you adjust this a little bit and we'll give you half of what you're asking for. It's not necessarily an all or nothing, just to give you some background. Let's see, Brandy, I see, is there a specific number for reach per organization? Is there a specific amount awarded per organization? I kind of went over that. It really does range. Some organizations, if they're like keeping it really limited, we may just give them $10,000 or so. But if they, have a lot of activities, they have a lot of outreach events planned, they're gonna, support a number of staff, we may give them more. So yeah, it really depends. Do the rural areas extend to all of Colorado? I mean, yes, again, as long as you're serving folks from at least one of those regulated utilities, that's really critical because this funding is restricted based on how it comes in. So for instance, for our bill assistance program, the money that we receive from Colorado Natural Gas has to go back to specifically Colorado Natural Gas bills. So we want to ensure that all of the folks that are delivering this education and outreach are serving customers of those four utilities. It is a 1-year grant. You're submitting a proposal for just 1 year of funding. However, this is the 3rd year that we're offering it, and we expect it to continue because we do keep collecting that funding. And for now, it will probably go for at least another year. I believe the commission has to vote, I forget what year it is, to decide how to redistribute the funding going forward. So I can't guarantee how long this will be operating this, but for now it's just 1 year, probably with a chance to apply again the following year. I see. Work with Total Concept, a nonprofit organization serving Southeast Colorado. We serve low-income residential housing needs. We are a perfect candidate. How much funding could be provided so we can prepare a proper RFQ? Yeah. So again, 10,000 to 100,000, depending on how much you all are. You think that you're capable of delivering on this. Yeah, and it sounds like you'd be a great candidate. Service individuals, or does it include multifamily facilities? So we do have a multifamily program at EOC. One of them is based on utility rebates, and then we also have one that EOC administers, the multifamily weatherization assistance program. We're one of the administrators of it. Generally, I actually, it's really tricky the way we find multifamily facilities. So I'm not sure. I think if you had a multifamily residence that needed upgrades, we could potentially refer to EOC's multifamily, but generally this is more individual focused. So it would be for the single family weatherization assistance program, and then individuals who are paying a utility bill, who are behind on their bill assistance, or who need to apply for LEAP, which is the low income energy assistance program that pays for heating bills. So yeah, generally individuals. So I would focus on that for your proposal. But during the midst of this also, or just in general, if you know of a good multifamily facility that houses low income, medium income families, then the facility could potentially be eligible for one of our programs. That was a long-winded answer, but yeah, focus on individuals, I would say, for this effort. I think that's all of them in the Q&A that I'm seeing. Are there other questions of people who want to unmute?
I have a question. Is there a certain amount that is awarded to eligible facilities?
So it really ranges by what you ask for. So again, I think we put in there $10,000 to $100,000 that you could request based on what the capacity of your organization is, what activities you're going to do. And then it's really ranged how much we have awarded organizations in the past. I think some get, $10,000 and some get 70,000 or 100. I don't know if we've given anyone 100, but yeah, it can really range. And again, the committee may decide like, oh, they really like your proposal, but we want to make sure we award, more agencies. So you may not get the full ask, but I would prepare the proposal and ask for what you think it makes sense for the activities that you're proposing. And then the committee will do their best.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Carlos with Colorado Changemakers Collective. I just have a quick question, and particularly just for reporting. We figured that, of course, reporting should go into our RFP proposal or this proposal here. And so, is there anything in particular that you're looking for from agencies, reporting wise, such as like specific numbers for each? Of course, well, that's one for sure. But anything else that you are looking for that will be needing for specifically for reporting?
Um, no, it's kind of more the reports we want, um, kind of a check-in on how many folks you're reaching, how many you're directly helping to apply, kind of an overview of the activities that you've done in the time period that we're asking for the report, and then a vague outline of how you're spending the budget. But it doesn't have to be super detailed. It can kind of be like, we spent this much on admin. We're not asking for it to be super detailed. It's a pretty reasonable ask, I think, on the reporting, but really just that, who are you reaching? Are you setting out? Are you reaching the goals that you set out in your proposal? Are you having like issues? Can we support you better? Things like that. Good question.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm. Seen. Is there a specific goal or expectation in terms of how many individuals an organization will reach? No, not necessarily. I think it really depends on how much you think you have the capacity of doing. Is it more than you are currently reaching if you are doing energy assistance or weatherization assistance? We know it can really, outreach is just not a perfect science all the time. So the more that you can reach, great. I don't know that we have a specific goal in mind for, yeah, I don't know that we have a specific number in mind. Could this be tied in with home buyer education? So this is specifically around utility assistance education. So I think it makes sense. It seems like it would complement that home buyer education well, especially since home buyers could really probably utilize energy efficiency work, and or bill payment assistance if they need it, or get enrolled in community solar, any of these programs. But yeah, we would really like it to be focused on that specifically. You could put in your proposal how your work reaching home buyers and educating them would lead well into you going on and explaining the energy assistance programs that are available. But so it's kind of up to you how you want to frame that, but it does need to focus specifically on those energy education, energy assistance education programs. Other questions? Well, I will stick around for a little bit. And if you have another question, please feel free, again, unmute yourself or put it in the Q&A. And then if something comes up later, please feel free to reach out to me. It's abrown@energyoutreach.org, which is also included in that the RFP. That's where you'll submit your proposal. And yeah, happy to answer any questions you all have. And we'll go ahead and send out the recording to this presentation as well when we're done. Thank you all for joining. Really appreciate your attention, and yeah, looking forward to some exciting proposals. So thank you all.
Amy, I do have one additional question. In particularly since we've been working a lot with individuals, of course, that come in and apply for the energy assistance. I want to say we were able to, I think the most numbers that we've been able to help out in 1 month has been up to I think 300 individuals. But one of my questions is within as we are assisting individuals, can we also put into our RFP that we would be additionally by providing the assistance to individuals, right? Providing them this awareness for the programs that you guys offer, but most important, of course, for individuals who are seeking LEAP assistance, because one of the things that we've been wanting to do is also to work with EOC more directly and how we can provide LEAP assistance. But one of the biggest things that kind of pushes our organization back is the funding in particular that it takes to help with making a LEAP application. And so is that something that we can do? It's just offer the assistance or the programs as we are providing the assistance, and then just kind of hand over like a list of individuals that would be able to obtain this information or that would be willing to obtain more resources, or kind of just start their process either for LEAP, for their energy efficient homes, for example, programs. Would that be something that we would be able to add in there, or?
Are you asking if you could like refer folks to us or something like that? Or can you just state that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think the easiest way is just like saying, can we refer individuals as soon as we submit this information out? Because at one point, we work quite a lot with Latino community, and so many of the times, what they'll do is that they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm super interested on this information," and then they won't call. And so, one thing that we want to do, and one thing that we've noticed specifically in our outreach is, of course, having that follow-up call and saying, "Hey, I heard you're interested. Are you still interested?" Can we refer those individuals over to EOC, for example, or is it up to also to the due diligence of our community member to just kind of receive the information and then just make the call themselves?
Yeah, I mean, directly referring to EOC is tricky because our internal staff just don't have the capacity to assist, which is why do you work with an energy assistance agency? One of our
Well,
partners, an EOC
I,
partner?
we're actually an EOC partner.
Okay, okay. But you're asking specifically like with LEAP or with these other programs, could you refer folks to us?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so since LEAP is not our program, we don't. What county are you in actually?
We're in Denver, but
You're in Denver.
yeah, we serve pretty much the whole entire Denver metro area, which is Arapahoe, Adams, I
Mhm.
believe it's Douglas as well too. So we have a decent outreach.
Okay. So in Denver County, EOC does actually do some outreach directly for LEAP and does do some kind of application assistance. It's limited just because we have limited staff. So potentially, if you all had the capacity and thought you could utilize this funding to increase your capacity to help people fill out LEAP applications, I think that would be great. And probably preferable. And then if you had the capacity to help people, if they're interested in weatherization, point them to the application, potentially help them out with that too. That would be great. Because like you said, I think referring folks, sometimes people are like, yeah, that's great. And then they don't follow through. So that's why we're looking for organizations that really do have capacity potentially to help with those applications. So they're actually, going there to get bill assistance. Oh, I can apply for LEAP here too, and you'll help me with that. Great. I can apply for weatherization. If you don't have the capacity for that, and you can just say, okay, we're going to do more dedicated outreach and saying, we're going to call folks that said they're interested, and we're going to follow up and give them like maybe a slightly more hand holding to like, here's where you go to apply for LEAP. Here's where you go to apply for weatherization. That would be great too. direct referrals to EOC is probably not going to happen just because we don't have the capacity to follow up with it.
Okay, that's good to know. But one way or another, we'll of course it's part of our work to be able to help our community member in need to be able to access this resources, and so we'll do our due diligence as well to make sure that they have that trust and also have that have some form of urgency to contact you guys. So,
Yeah, and I think we will be giving the funded organizations like full training on like here's how you refer people to Leap Best, here's how you refer people to WAP or to these other programs too. And so if you're not able to like handhold everyone and do application support with all of them, you'll still have kind of some steps you could take to get them there as well.
perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep. Anyone else who's still remaining? I'm seeing a lot of meeting notes, but if there's other live people that have questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, you can hang up. All right. Thank you all. Have a great day.